turn off your like. Turn
Picking up
on your
tunes like Bill.com.
beats.
My God, you got a spell on me now. Faster.
Hey,
Good
everybody.
evening.
Hey,
Good
guys.
evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I welcome to the RAHIM Show. I'm your host, as always, joined by my two co-hosts, Lolo Smith
Yes,
and
I'm right here.
Francis Barlett. We have a very real estate consultant today joining us, Otavio B. Gilman. He's trying to get settled. That's why you haven't seen his picture, but momentarily he's going to get ready. But he is also ready to answer some of our questions, and to our folks out there on Facebook and YouTube joining the show. We want to say welcome. Thanks for tuning in as always, and hit the like button, share the podcast, and make some comment. And we highly appreciate you for that. So let me first start by welcoming our guest today. Let's say Otavius B. Gilman. He's a friend of mine, and I have, I talked to him several times. I never had the opportunity to face him, to see him in person, but I think I know him to be a very intelligent person. Most time, he has his own podcast that he does on Facebook as well. You can also follow him. He very educated, when it comes to the real estate area. He's a consultant. So, so welcome,
Octavius,
Mr.
welcome.
Otavius B. Gilman. Welcome to the show. It is good to have you here. So, with first start, tell who you are so that our viewer out there who are watching the show can be able to know who you are and what do you do. Thank you. Welcome.
And first of all, let me say I do apologize for um, the not coming on video. I'm yeah, due to another business that I came to transpire. I thought I would be home on time, and now I'm rushing going back home, and so I apologize for that. And yeah, first of all, my name is Octavius Bestman Gilman. I
Okay.
live in Detroit, Michigan, for almost 20 years. Um, just to get this out of the way, I'm not good at English, and that's why my English teacher and I were best
It's
friends.
okay. We can still
Yeah,
understand you speak.
we, we understand you,
Speak.
brother.
We
yeah,
all
yeah,
learning English. We all
thank you. And
learning.
so I just want to
We
get it out of the
no.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, but yeah. I I just I'm 39 years old. Been living in Michigan for 20 years. I'm a private real estate investor. I also teach financial literacy and
Mm-hmm.
how to invest in real estate with no money, OPM, and with different group in the country and around United States. So I go, people pay me, different organization pay me to go and lecture um, their community around the country. I also invest for people who want to start investment from 500 all the way to almost close to $500,000. And so,
Okay, so
yeah, so that's me.
okay. So how long you been in the business? How long you been a realtor?
I'm not a realtor. I'm a private real estate
Your
investment.
private
So
real estate. Okay,
yeah,
so how long you been in there? How long have you been
I've
doing it?
been I've been doing that for 9 years.
For 9 years. Okay.
And that's what I do for a living at this moment.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for that question, Lulu. Otavius, okay. As a real estate professional, right? And most time, your client, your colleagues, or even the acquaintances that you will have, right? They look up to you for advice when they're about to get into real estate, investing. So like for instance, if I wanted to buy a home, right? If I wanted to buy a home and I need somebody to help me because maybe I haven't had the experience before. And I don't just want to buy the home just because I saw the taste of the home and I just rush and buy it. I remember you had a podcast about, telling people that, sometimes you offer help to a librarian community, but people don't really see that and they don't take advantage of some of the, education that you offer to help them to save some money. So, what would be your, advice to somebody like me who want to buy a house if I were to?
Yeah, thank you very much. And that that particular question, I got to ask you in two ways. Are you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a house to live in with your family, or do you want to buy a house for investment? So before I answer that question, I would like for you to and
So,
tell me for
so
investment or for residential.
yeah, for residential. Take for instance, yeah, I want to buy a home for residential for my family to stay in. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now the first thing I would like to know, I would like to know a couple of things, and I want you to consider a couple of things. One, um, is your age, and so I will have to explain to you. Look, you want to buy a house in Virginia, for example, and you say, I will ask you, how old are you? But you tell me, Octavius, I'm 30, I'm 40 years old, and how much this house you want to buy? How much it's gonna cost? This house, I'm gonna buy this house. This house on the market for 350,000 dollars. Now, I want you. Then my next question: how long do you think you will live at that property? If anything less than 10 years, and so then that's a problem. If you're 40 years or above, I will explain a couple of things to you. Then I will ask you, how old is your kid? If they around 16, 17, 12, then I know that they will not be with you when that house paid for. They will leave. And so these are things that I factor in and say, okay, do you know that before you're 40 years old, do you know before you pay the house off, you will be 70 years old? The children that you born in the house today will not live here. Are you willing to live in this house for the next 10 years? Nine and 7 out of 10, nobody do that. They want to move. And the children will want to put them in nursing home or sell the house. And so you have to factor and then I will tell you how much. I will ask how much you make. And a lot of our community, in our community, we don't calculate these things. Just because you got a pre-approval letter and you make 150,000 dollars, that don't mean you can afford a mortgage. Just because you are qualified for the mortgage, that don't mean you can afford it. And that's give a lot of people problem when it comes to understanding that particular logic. You can be you can be approved for the phone, but you walking out of that store, you're not paying for the phone cash. They're making you pay $29 a month. That means they just make $500 off you just because you don't know. So these are the kind of things I explain to you and say, no, don't do it. Keep renting because you save more money renting than buying because you cannot afford this mortgage. You are only qualified for it. And these are the kind of things I teach.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad that you put into perspective those different factor, right? But somebody would say, like for instance, maybe my family and I we are renting somewhere and we are paying like 2,000 a month, right? Given the size of my family, like maybe for example, we are six in the home, right? And given the size of my family, we pay 2,000 a month for a three-bedroom. So not living in a house where you just rent and pay 2,000, and knowing that that same 2,000 can also give you a place that you can own because buying a house I believe it's also a form of investment, right? I stand to be corrected, right? So I like the way you put it, like you check, you look at, your longevity, how long you gonna stay for, because if your age do gotta play a factor, like you mentioned, right? And the kids, if you have kids that are still little, they also play a factor. But one of the things somebody would say is, if I'm paying $2,000 for a rental house, why not buy my own place that I will pay the same amount? So what would you say about that?
And thank you. I come across that particular marketing talking points a lot, and that's why we learn when we come to this country. That's why even those who were born here, that's that's the talking point that they sell to us, and say, and you see two things that you ask anybody that watching this show right now, or those who are watching, and what, and those who want to buy a house, you ask them, they will tell you these two things. I'm buying a house for investment, and then when I get an investment, I will do a refinance. That's the two things we know. Buy a house is an investment, but we don't consider these things. Now, you see how you put it. You said, I want to buy a house for investment, and then I'm paying $2,000 to rent it. Why I can just buy my own? But you never factor in your security deposit can change your entire life. So if you're buying a house for $400,000, you need a 60 between 60 $80,000 down payment. That $80,000 down payment can change your entire life and not work in this country. So for that $80,000, for every $1,000, that's $20. And let me say this before I go in. Everything I'm saying here, you can go on your computer and check it out right now as I speak. And if anything wrong, let me leave the show. And I never.
No, 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 no.
So yeah, no,
We
no, no, no,
try.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, go
No.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I always say that because, I don't want nobody. I don't argue with people. So the thing is, okay, you're paying $2,000 in renting. When your front is poor, you call your landlord. When your AC spoil, you call your landlord. When your roof spoil, you call your landlord. When your camo spoil, you call your landlord. Anything happen to the house, you call your landlord. You don't pay property taxes. You don't pay state taxes. You don't pay cleaning fee. You don't pay garbage fee. Your landlord do that. I want you to factor those in for 1 year. How much that will cost? So now you buying a house. You put in a security. You put in a 20% down. That's between 60 to $80,000 on an average home right now. Between 60 to $20,000. If you buy a house and you did not put 20% down, just know you're paying something called PMI. It's called private mortgage insurance. That almost close to $150,000 plus, depending on the price of the house. You're giving a bank free money. So now you factor that in. So if if you buy a house, this is your expenses. You're paying property taxes from your pocket. You're paying state taxes from your pocket. If your camo sport at you, if your plumbing sport at you, if your AC sport at you, between 7 to 10 years, if you bought a house new, you will change the roof, the bathroom, everything. You have to factor those costs, and then you will see that it's cheaper depending on where you live. It's cheaper to rent than to buy. That's why you find most people, millionaires, they are renting because it's cheaper to rent their house than to buy the house. Because why? The $80,000 you take or $60,000 to put down for a deposit, and
Yeah, to our viewer,
to
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
and then what would and now you because my goal is to make you it sound good, but look at the cost that come with.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And I like the way explain this thing, because to our viewer out there who needs this kind of education, there might be there will be somebody who planning right now to to buy a home. And if you're watching the show, this is a Rahim Show, and I'm your host, Rackie Ali, and joined by my two co-hosts, Francis Bala and Lodo Smith. At always, we have a speaker in our studio today. Otavius B. and Gilman. He's a real estate consultant, and he's providing information so that you and I, who are planning, to possibly buy a home, can be able to know exactly and make use of this education that he's trying to educate about. So thank you. I'm glad that you were able to point out some of these things so that people can So my question is, okay, uh, somebody might ask, say, are real estate, let's say, prices negotiable?
If you say real estate prices, because what are you talking about?
Okay, like for instance, like you went to assess a house, right? And then the person took you to the house. Is this something that you can talk to, maybe the way to bag in the price, or is this something that the price is just fixed, or the price is there a possibility that the price can fluctuate, or the price just remain fixed? That's what we're trying to say.
Okay, thank you. So, uh, my like I said, I'm a private real estate investor. So where I put my money is always in a distressed property. It means that old houses, and I buy it cash and then put another maybe 30,000 to 40,000 in and fix it. So if you buying it for a residential, I would give one advice to all my brothers and sisters, Liberian out there in this country. We all come here to hustle, and I will give it free. If you want to buy a house, always ask somebody who into the business, ask a real estate agent, buy a foreclosure home. The home that my brother Rahim, the bank just took from him, and the bank put that house back on the market. You always get the deal. So if that house for 400,000, the bank just pulled Rahim up because he couldn't afford the mortgage. That bank will not sell that house for 400,000. They will sell it for maybe 250, and then you can come back again. They will offer you 200,000
To our viewer out there, we apologize for the transmission. Okay, go ahead.
So the bank will always want to sell that house cheaper to get it out because they will lose money while that house stay down. So buy the foreclosure house, and you know that Rahim just left from, that they just put him up from. Then example, and then you go and fix it. So you will notice that you're coming in with a lot of equity, because while the house worth $400,000, the bank just put him out, and then you can put $50,000 in the house. You see how much that house cost now? Almost close to 400,000. So it better, but a lot of people don't know that. No, all these new houses you find, it look new, but no, that's how people do. That how real estate investors do. What they do is they go buy the distressed property. What we do, and then we fix it up and then sell it for all those money. So you can also do the same. It will save you a lot of money, and you will be entering your house with a lot of equity.
All right. So I have a question, Octavia. What market are you investing in, and what rent are you looking for? Let's say I want a house. What are you say you're a private uh, um um investor,
Consultant, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
I'm a
what
private real estate investor.
yeah, so what market are you investing? Are you investing, and what are the rent are you looking for people to
And thank
come
you.
out there and run to you?
And thank you very much. That's a pretty good question again. So, if a lot of people want to get into real estate, more especially rent property, the first
Uh-huh.
thing I want you to consider,
Hmm.
is 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 landlord friendly state. What do I mean by landlord friendly?
Yeah,
It
what do
means
you
that
mean by
yeah, the laws in the state is
hmm
good for you, the landlord. That if John Brown not pay his rent, he will
hmm
be out in the next 2 weeks or
hmm
1 month. He will not be, they will not drag it to 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So it means that the laws on the book is in favor of the landlord. That the first thing you want to do, that I can put you out in 30 days if you not pay my rent. If you miss a payment, I put you out. And then they will sign the paper out of court that you will be out. So that the first thing. So if you ask that question, you ask which
hmm
market you are investing. I
hmm
always look for market that facing problem. One, up to Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit is a fine where the economy in 2008, 2007, you saw that Detroit took a hit because of where
Right.
they got the three car company. A lot of people lose their job. So you always
Exactly.
want to look for a state that have a problem, and so those problems will give you the opportunity. Now,
So
look,
basically, you buying a house, fixing the house, and then putting people in the house to rent that house. Is that what you're
thank
doing?
you. Yes,
Is that what you?
yes,
Okay, okay.
yes, yes, and the way you do that, because now we notice that those market, everybody going there now because the houses is cheap, and it's
Mm-hmm.
cheap. So now, and they got a lot of old houses. I can't buy new houses. I can't go and buy a house in in Delaware. There's not
Right.
a lot of old houses there. I can't go put money in I'm a place like Seattle, Washington. I can't go put
Okay.
money in New York.
Even
So
even
you
in
look for
Maryland, Maryland, the houses yes are very expensive these days. Yeah.
no, Maryland is good. No, some part of Maryland, and one thing you want to understand: do not say the area is ghetto. That's the mindset of people who don't know what investment. No, you're not living there in ghetto, but that somebody is comfortable living there. So, and so these are the area there that we look for, and I want you to put money in distress area, hardship area where houses is cheap, and you go there and put your money there, and then you can invest. I mean, take all your money out using home equity line of credit, according to ILA. Never refinance, never. That the market strategy talking point. Never refinance your house if you get an equity in your house. Never do that. Always do the home equity line of credit. But that's a whole different topic. Thank you.
So, Otavio, most of the time I follow your show. Some of the video you have very, educated. And I learn a lot. So, what would you say are the pros and cons when it comes to buying and renting? Because I remember you had a show about the buying versus renting, and I followed that show, and I learned a lot. You give some, So what is the pros and cons, when it comes to buying from renting?
Yeah, and that's a pretty good question again. No, buy in. I have to know your condition. If I want to, if you come to me and say, Octavia, should I buy or rent? The first thing I want to know, like the doctor. You go to the doctor, you can just close your mouth. The doctor, he say, oh, I'm not feeling well. He will ask you what wrong. When was the last time you got sick? How long it been? You ask you all these questions. So I want to know if you say, okay, I want to buy. Do you think I should buy or rent? The first thing, your age again, it play a major role. Then I want to know how many kids you got. Let's assume you say, oh, Octavia, I alone and I'm 40 years old, but I want to buy. How much do you have? I got 40,000. What your price range? I want a $400,000 house. That tell me right there. How much do you make a year? You say, oh, I make $100,000 a year. That tell me right there you cannot afford that house. So my goal now is to tell you that we'll do something called horse hacking.
Yeah,
Horse
I was
hacking.
about to ask you about that. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. It called horse hacking. Where now you are about to lay free. So I will not buy a single family house for you. I will buy a duplex. Where 2 bedroom up, 2 bedroom down. So and your mortgage will be around close to $2,000 a month. And so what or let's assume $2,000 a month. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a room in the basement and a bathroom in the basement and rent it upstairs for 2,250. Rent it downstairs for 2,250. That $5,000 coming to you, and then you live in the basement. It's called horse hacking. So we'll do that. But understand, you enter in the house with a with what? Uh, and you just told me that you got 40,000. That means that you cannot afford the house. They will put PMI on it because you did not meet your your 20%. But who cares? That's somebody paying the mortgage because the mortgage is $2,000 a month. You coming home with almost close to 4,500. You see how much you're garnishing in your pocket. The PMI, if you pay your PMI, you pay your insurance, you still going home almost 2 grand a year. I mean a month. Why somebody pay your mortgage, and then that money you begin to save it to do your to invest in to and a different property. So there are a lot of ways people can live in this country free, and doing horse hacking, and that's an easy way again to start invest. So that's why I would say, what, buy because you don't have kids. Even when you got kids, I would want to look at all that kind of. If you got 1 2 kids, I can still work with you and put you in a property where somebody can pay your mortgage.
Yeah, so I got what you said about the issue of house hacking, right? And I followed your video a lot. So you said how to buy a house without paying the mortgage. So I guess you explained it very well. Like, you buy the house that have like couple of rooms, and then put people in a different room, and then stay in the basement. Then these people, money that they give you becomes obviously the mortgage for the house. Then you don't pay anything from your pocket, which is a very, but it depends on the size of the family and the need of the family, like you said. So
Yeah,
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 go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. Let me get you something in there. Look,
Yeah.
even when you got 3 kids, there's always a property for you. But your goal is you want, because look, this country is in the next between 7 to 10 years. This nation will be a rental nation. You will not be able to afford a house. That's why you find the building apartment complex all over now. Because why? Investors understand that the interest rate is not coming down. That's why you see us right now. We don't keep money in our account. It's a waste of time. You lost. So we take our money and invest it in the old property. And, and because at the end of the day, 5 to 7 years from now, this property that we buy for 100 grand will cost almost close to 250 or $300,000. So horse hacking
So
is very good. You can start as soon as possible and live free.
yeah. So that is good for our viewer out there. If you're watching the show on Facebook and YouTube, welcome to the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Ricky Ali, being joined by my co-host, Francis Potter and Lola Smith. As always, we have our speaker. He's a real estate consultant, private consultant, and he's here to really educate us on the issue of let's say real estate investment. If you're out there and you're planning to buy a home, please take advantage of this particular opportunity and watch this video, because our brother here to educate us on the issue of investing, which is very important. So I listened to you also on let's say I follow you a lot. So I see that you say it is a big mistake to refinance your mortgage. Why do you think so? It is a big mistake, because somebody would say I was paying like $2,500 a month, but then when I want to go refinance, it helped. Even though it extended my time, it extended the length of the mortgage, but yet I'm now I'm paying $1,200, which is flexible that I can afford. So what would you say?
And thank you again. I just did that for a couple. Just save them from that same problem. Now, the only thing that we know in our community is when we get a little equity in our houses, we still want to refinance. That's the only language we know. We don't know nothing else called home equity line or credit. You ask anybody why are you buying a house, they'll say investment risk is an investment. Oh, when you get money in it, what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna refinance. But they don't understand it. So now refinancing, they get something called home equity line of credit for the investor term, the new say into the difficult language, the ELA. But here's it. If you refinance, let's assume my brother Sam bought a house in 2000 for $400,000 with an interest rate of 2%. Now, 2024, same house that he bought in 2000, the house worth, 400,000 in 2020 with a 2% interest rate. The house worth 500,000 right now in 2024. Same guy and a lot of Liberian in that position right now. Same got $100,000 sitting in this house, and they don't know that you got to take that money up quick because why? It's not guaranteed cash. So Sam gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna refund that. But Sam do not know that there's something out here too that can save him. It called what? Home equity line of credit. If you refinance this, what Sam doing? Sam bought a house from Chase Bank. That found out this $400,000 house. Now he get $100,000 sitting in his house. It's $500,000. Don't forget the 2% is very important. If Sam go to Bank of America or the same bank and say, look, I got $100,000 sitting in my house. I want you to give me 100,000. The bank will rush on it. But this is what the bank gonna do. The bank will say, okay, what we're gonna do, Sam? Sam, how much you owe in Chase Bank? Sam say, look, I owe in Chase Bank 300,000, $400,000. Maybe he not pay. So now maybe okay, I owe in Chase Bank 350. Sam not pay. 50,000. So Sam got $150,000 sitting in your house for equity. So the bank gonna say, okay, so you owe Chase Bank 350, we're gonna pay Chase Bank up. They pay Chase Bank 350. That means you starting a new loan. It's like you buying a house over. Now the bank gonna give you your 150 and get Chase Bank like 350,000. This your 2% interest rate is start right there from today you sign that paper. It means that you're taking the interest rate today, which is 6.7 something percent, I stand to be corrected. Now you see how you affected yourself. So now you're taking the now your payment yesterday was $2,000 for that loan that you took with Chase Bank 2,000. Now they sign a new loan for you for the 500,000 with a 6% interest rate. Now your payment jumped to 2,700. They say, whoa, why am I paying 2,700 when I was paying 2,000 before? Yes, because the interest rate today, that new $500,000 they just gave you, you just signed it like you buying your house today. So that's why refinancing is bad, but our people do not know because our community, like I always say, is dark. Nobody there to show all these things. Then Sam come to me, he said, Octavia, what should I do? Should I refinance? I said, don't even bring that word. Don't even say, don't even call refund. Let's do home equity line or credit. What is home equity line or credit? It's just like a credit card or debit card. Debit card, the bank giving you. The bank said, Sam, how much you got in your house? Sam said, I got 150,000. The bank will say, okay, we'll give you 85% on that $185,000 equity you got in your house. So the bank will go and give Sam maybe close to 120 grand. The bank got nothing to do with that 2% interest rate. They're not touching it. They only financing the only financing the equity that Sam had in your house. So they will gain the credit card. Yeah, it's the difference. You see how when you sign that paper with the first we do, as soon as you did the refund that, you can never change it. That $2,700 payment is locked in from today. But the home equity line or credit, they just give you that credit card. You take or your 120 cent got it in your pocket. They said you $20,000. He find 1,000, he put it back. He can get in the credit card and say, I want it again. He can go back anytime that money just dead. And he want 20,000, he take it. He want 5,000, he take it. He finish, put it back. It got
Okay.
no string attached. That's how it works.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad that you were able to, explain that because for our viewer out there, I mean, the way I was told, I think it is important that you have, you the expert, and you have, made it clear. Yeah, because from what I was told, when it comes to refinancing, if that is the case of what you just said, I think there's no point of doing refinancing because how can I refinance, my property, and then although I receive certain amount of money, but yet. My entire mortgage have a different beginning, and then also I pay higher mortgage. There is no point of even refinancing because if you're doing that, I mean you do that to save money, but if you're doing that to pay higher money, then there is no point for that. So I wanted to ask you another question here.
Um,
You know so there is
get it.
something called let's say a first time home grant, right? First time home buyer grant. So they said that I think about $20,000 you can get as a first time home buyer. So do you know anything about a first time home buyer grant that is out for anyone who want to buy a house out there?
Yeah. Before I tell that, let me just say something again. We on the refinancing, there's some reason it's necessary. Like you and your wife break up for some reason, and she don't want to take her name from on the list or on the mortgage. Yeah, you can also refinance to get it off. And that's yeah, to get that person name off the mortgage or of that paperwork. So I just want to put that in there. Okay, so
But
that your
I got a
question.
question though
You
along
just,
those lines.
go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, sorry to want to take you back, and then sorry coming on late, Octavius. Welcome to the show. My line has been giving a lot of problems. I didn't even hear the beginning of the conversation, but then this is a very important or interesting topic, right? Now, from the explanation of refinancing and the homeowner line of credit, what you are saying exactly is that the homeowner line of a credit is more or less like a credit card. So if they were to give you a credit card, maybe your equity in the house is 150,000, and they were to give you 85% of that, something around 120,000, that is the money that you have to use and put back. It is not the money that you take and you walk away with it, you don't owe back to the bank, right?
You 100% right.
And then refinancing is if you go back to the bank has appreciated. The property has appreciated. It was 400,000 2 years ago, and now it is 500,000. And they give you that refinancing. That's the money that you can take and go away with.
Yes, you're right.
But if you maintain the property, more or less you have to pay more because it more or less that you're rebuying the house. But whatever you had in it as an equity or whatever you had in it as an investment, you've withdrawn that amount.
That's correct.
Okay. So for investment purposes, right, where the scenario you were given about where you can live and you can buy a house and live free, where
Yeah,
you
house
have
hunting.
like maybe like two family home like that. Maybe you're in one and then the person in the other one is paying the mortgage and more or less you're paying utilities or you're not paying much. Isn't refinancing a better option of getting that money out and reinvesting in another property?
And that's a pretty good question. And that's where uh, I make a lot of money in that particular area helping people doing that. A lot of people think that that money, and I tell most of my clients, don't take that money and go on vacation in Liberia. I beg you, don't do that. Don't take that money and put it in the bank and let it just
Right,
sit there. And don't do that. When you take that money, invest that money. Do not put that money in Liberia. Say, oh, I'm going to open store, I'm going to open hotel. It's slow return on your investment in Liberia. Put that money in an investment property in America. Start from here. Then you can see your return coming up and paying for itself. Where are you working?
right.
Thank
Okay, yeah. I just for our viewers out there, for people who may want to know, I just wanted to get a little bit clarity on that. And that's a very salient point you raised. Instead of taking the money out and just go use it on vacation or something that you throw the money away and then you come back and start paying higher costs, it is a better option to reinvest the money and then the returns on those two properties even put you in a better financial position.
you. Yeah, and I had a client. I mean, she's still with me anyway, but I had a client that in Connecticut. When she lived in Connecticut, she when she bought a house for uh, the house was like almost close to I think 590, and she took she when she watched my show, she called me, and I told her to do the home equity line of credit. She had almost close to $210,000. So I told her, I said, look, I just need 100 grand, and she said, no, I want two houses. So she gave me 170. She gave me $170,000. I bought two houses for her, and she paid me, and so she gave me 150 to flip. I bought two houses and used the money, the banner money, and made $50,000 to fix it. So her mortgage that she was paying the bank, she was paying the bank 1,370, and I told her, don't worry, it will pay for itself. So when I bought the two houses, we put renter in it, and her rent was $4,200 a month. So it's 1,000. I mean 2,001 a month. So you see how much when she get her rent from the two houses, she paid the bank, but you see how much she garnishing. So every year she got a 25% increase on her property. So you see how the money she took from the bank, somebody else is paying it, and not her, but she getting a passive income every single month. That's why I encourage Liberian to do. Never, never just take this money out and go on vacation or just sit down in the bank. You don't want to do that. It's a bad investment.
Yeah, I'm glad that
Uh,
people are out there watching the show and they are learning a lot of things from this particular things that you are saying. If you are joining us tonight, this is the Rahim Show, and I'm your host Rackie Ali. We have our special guest today, Otavio B. Gilman. He's a real estate private investor, and he's here to really provide a lot of information for some of you who are watching the show and are planning, to buy a home, to get into real estate investment. So I have a question here. So like I said, I always follow your show, the community, show that you always have. So one of the things you said in one of your show was you said three important things, right? You say three things to consider before buying a home, right? So somebody who is buying their home today, what are those three things that are very essential that they need to consider before buying a home?
And thank you again. Uh, yeah, they got them prepared. They got them prepared for tonight. Yeah, one.
We're ready for you, brother.
Yeah, one. And what you guys doing? Look, a lot of people. I know our community. They might not be clicking, but they're watching and listening.
Yeah,
So you are providing and a critical information for them. So one of the things you want to consider, the first thing is your age. Because if you're 40 years old, I want you to consider that you'll be 70 to 80 years. Let's just assume according to the bank rule, a 30-year mortgage. So if you're 40, you'll be 70 years before the
70.
house
Yeah,
pay
yeah,
off.
yeah,
So think about that for a minute. When your 21-year-old or 22-year-old child that just left college want to go back to that same house that she lived in for 20 years, just think about that for a minute. The answer is no.
no, yeah,
You are 70 years old. The only thing that on that children man or that on that child man right now is to put you in nursing home or send you back
yeah,
home.
yeah,
And that house, don't forget now, the 30 years that house is not paid for yet. Because why? In 15 to 10 years, you not take money from it already. So you not add a year up.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So these are the first thing you want to consider. So that child not coming to go live in our old house. So their first option, that is, let's say the house. The nursing home here, let's put you in a cheaper. Or you won't go home, or I found one apartment for you. So you see it? So that calculation, how many people consider that? No, they don't. A lot of people buy houses in this country based on emotion, based on jealousy, envy. Because I not get one CNA lesson or one RN lesson, or they give me promotion at my job. I become accountant, graduate from school. My mom coming from Liberia. I just got married. My friend bought a house, so I won't do the same. I'm gonna go buy a house. They never factor in all those calculations. The second one, I want you to consider: will I live in the house that I'm buying today for the next 10 years? If your answer is no, then why do it? Because if you're going, because understand, from the first year to the 17 years, you're not paying principal on that house, you're paying interest. Let me break the English down. So all that little 2,700 or that 2,500 or 2,300 you pay from the first day you sign that paper to between 15 to 17 years, 95% of that money going to the interest. It's not going towards the
Mm.
house. I want anybody to check it out right now while we speak. It's not going. So you see, so all that year you live in a house, when you start paying for it, it will be in the 20 years. So if you sell a house in 10 years, who you making rich like the bank? That's why they know that you will not stay there. That's why they will qualify you for the mortgage with a bad credit score. And because they know you cannot afford it. The third thing I want you to consider, cannot afford this house. It is very important. And it fool a lot of people. They get the thing confused. Just because you are qualified for the mortgage, that don't mean you can afford the mortgage. Just because you are
yeah,
qualified for anything, that don't mean you can afford. It's very important to understand these two words. Just because, like, let me make it simple. You walk to the phone store, they say the phone is $1,000. You walk there, Sam and I carry Rahim. Rahim saw Sam and I using iPhone 15. He won't buy it too. So Rahim walk in the store. They say, "Oh, the phone is $2,000." Rahim do not have $2,000. That Rahim there, the car no due. He 2 months behind on it. Ryan said, oh, then the customer service agent said, you, oh, but let me run your credit to see. They run his credit. They said, you got a $2,000 for the phone. Ryan said, no. They said, but you qualify for the phone. Just pay 39.99 every month for the next 36 months. They will never call year because when they call year, it's about marketing. They will call months because when they call months to you, it sounds easy. Oh, the month I can pay the 29.99. It finished. They said pay the 29.99 for 32 months. And Rahina, he said, oh yeah. You see how you were only qualified for that phone, but could you afford that phone? You cannot. That's the same way they sell the house to our people. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you provide this information. Okay, so I got a friend of mine who said that most time the real estate agent don't love for us to buy home because they factor in some of these things like you mentioned. Age has to play a major role, especially when you are 40 years. So, what I want to know, at what age is necessary to buy a home? Because
Right.
you said 40. We all know mortgage is a very long term payment, because you have to pay for 10 years. So, and when you are 40, obviously you're going to be 70 at the time, and then being 70, you already retired now. You might not be able to pay depending on the mortgage that you pay every month. But somebody will say, okay, I bought a house, and then I bought a house that has basement, right? And then the basement I put in rent. Maybe my months were like 2,000, but then somebody is staying in my basement and they're paying $1,000. So it means that I save additional $1,000. Instead of me going to rent, I'm now paying 1,000, for the rental house that I was paying almost 2,000. So what would be your take, if somebody consider doing such? Because the person is, also getting money that will also cover up their mortgage of 2,000 while you know they are in their own place instead of renting and paying 2,000. What will you say?
Yeah, that's horse hacking. I teach that in my classes as well. Let me just put this out. You can buy a house at any age as a financial literacy advocate. I'm not an
Okay.
expert. Let me put it
Okay.
out there. I
Okay.
never went to school to do this. I paid the closer I ever went. That was to to go to Robert Kiyosaki class, the guy who wrote the book called Read That Poor Dad. He teach me how to use other people's money. That was the
Okay.
closet. And I self-taught myself and read books and go to meet up all the millionaire program. I see all I've been to all the classes on in person. So I learned from that. So now the thing is you can buy a house at any age. But my concern is can you afford this house? So
Okay.
that's why, and if because if you calculate all those things like your age, and when you live there, you begin to get a second thought and say, no, 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 hold on, that not make sense here because I will not be here for the next 10 years. Before I pay for the house at 40 years old, I, I can't make it. So you begin to get second thought. But a lot of our people, how many Liberians know in this country that if you buy a house for $40,000, you pay $1 million for the house? How many people know that? If you buy a house, if you buy a house for $400,000, before you finish paying for the house in 30 years, you pay $1 million plus. Let's do the math right now. How
Yeah.
many people know? So okay, because if they know it got all the information to the fingertip, I bet you that why people investment people who do the thing don't like people like us. That why they would rather we work for them and say don't do that. And
Yeah.
don't educate the people out there. But I can't get mad at them. That's how they make their money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I agree with
let
you.
me ask this
Go
question,
ahead,
right?
Francis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of draws my attention to where, um, say, Francis has his family of four. Francis, his wife, and two children, and Francis is tired of living in an apartment. But then Francis has this 15-year plan in Fargo, North Dakota. Francis is like, okay, let me find a house, buy it. After 15 years, I'm planning to maybe move back home. or I'm planning to move to Maryland.
Yeah.
And when I'm leaving, I would look forward to selling the house. If I have built equity in it, um, I can cash that money out, sell the house to another bank, and move on. And I ask this question because I hear you saying that when you start paying the mortgage, that is 2,500 mortgage, you are paying towards interest and not principal up to maybe 15 to 20 years. Do you accumulate equity in interest?
That's a good question.
No. Yes, what? If you pull, so the house was $400,000,
Right.
and 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 you pull $50,000 down. You move in the house. Automatically, you got a $50,000 equity in the house. So now you live there, but that $2,000 you paying every month your mortgage, 95% of that
Hmm.
money going to interest. So that lay $80 every month from the $2,000 going
Hmm.
towards your $50,000 you put down. So if check that $80 or that $70 every month, you add it up to how many years that the money you will get in the house, and and when you're ready to sell it. But majority of the money that you're paying going to interest. Now, there are a couple of things you can do to increase the value of your property. You can what? One, you can fix the bathroom, remodel, and but that money will come from your pocket. The kitchen and the windows. These are the area that give your property money. So you could do that, and at the end of the day, and get more equity. But it comes down to, can you afford it? That's all.
Yeah,
Right.
so yeah, for our viewer out there, if you're watching the show, this is the Rahim Show, and I'm your host, Rackie Ali. I'm being joined by my co-host, Francie, and Lolo Smith. We have our guest in studio today with us, Otavio B. Gilmont. He's a real estate a private consultant. He's here to provide a lot of information, especially when you are planning to buy a home or you want to get yourself into real estate investment. It's a very good opportunity to come out here and receive some of the information. Francis, go ahead. I know you wanted to add something.
Right. And then thank you. Let me just say while we still doing this, let me say, Oteva, thank you. It seems to me that you're very, very knowledgeable in this area, and we need people like you in our community. This is free knowledge that you giving, because there are things that even me I didn't know. I'll be honest with you on that. And then so I understand the argument of affordability, the where you're coming from about being able to afford a house. Now, so what I want to get clear, does it goes to say that every down payment that you put down, say you bought a $300,000 house and you put down 25,000, that is automatically an equity. Is that what you're saying?
Otavio, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I think he's muted. Otavio, can you
Yeah,
unmute?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you got a question.
yeah, yeah. I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So if if you put down if you put down 300,000, like you said, and then
25,000 on a 300,000 house.
yeah, that's automatic. You got $25,000 equity in the house already.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I
and
think
and and,
me and a
and
lot of people out there didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. If you buy a house
Hmm.
for for
Go ahead, Octavius. For our viewer out there, this is the Rahim Show. If you're watching the show via Facebook and YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We are here discussing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming live. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
that is
We,
the
we
actual
can finally
face
see
of,
your face.
yeah, actual face
the
about
the face behind the
real
voice.
estate, real estate. private
Yeah.
investor who is in studio with us today, providing this information. He usually have a show on Facebook called the Community Class. Follow him. I mean, he make provide a lot of information when it comes to real estate, and a lot of advice. So I'm encouraging all our viewer out there, not just coming on this show, but also follow him. I mean, he will share his number momentarily so that you can be able to get in touch with him when you are planning to buy a house or want to do real estate investment. Go ahead. You wanted to address something before, yeah, Octavius. There was a question asked, so address that question. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I want you to understand is this. But be mindful. The only about the PMI, the private mortgage insurance. Be mindful of
Okay.
that. So if the house costs 400,000 now, you know you got to pull some around close to $80,000 down. If you put anything, and those who bought a house already, I want you to ask yourself, did you put the 20% down? If that answer is no, just know there's something in your mortgage paper called PMI you pay, and that hurting you. And that it called PMI private mortgage insurance. And that insurance is not when your house burn down. The insurance, because the bank said, oh no, you know what, Rahim couldn't afford his house. But they're gonna sell it to you anyway because I had to make the money. So as soon as Rahim signed that paper from Chase Bank, what Chase Bank going to do? They're going straight to Freddie Mae or Freddie Mac to go sell that whole deal to them. So that's why they don't care. That's why they will give you their houses with bad credit because they know they're making millions of dollars, thousands, $100,000 from you. And that's why you find a lot of people who can't even call it, who get bad credit score, 600, they're getting houses because that's business. That's how they make money. So if you cannot come up with that 20% down, my brothers and sisters, take that little money and
So,
invest it. Don't
so
buy the house.
Yeah, Otavia, I did my own research and I realized that
That's good.
there was something one of the real estate investor, was trying to advise people after I did that research. He was saying it's always good. I don't know what is your own tip concerning what I'm about to say, but he was saying it's always good to buy a house based on the lower income of a person. I tend to agree with him because of like you said, in your statement, most time, we Liberian or another person out of flamboyance because maybe I'm making a 6 figure now, I go and get some kind of $600,000 house, where the mortgage is a 4,000. Considering that it's 30 years, okay, even if I'm 20 years old and buying a house because I'm making 6,000, not knowing that even if I pay that $3,000 or $4,000, a month,
Mortgage.
I would
Hmm.
have paid over 10 years more than $3 to $4 million just for that small house that cost 500,000. They don't take into, they don't even take that into consideration. Secondly, you don't know what will happen because life changes. The guy said that there are times you have to consider in 30 years there will be a life change situation. You won't remain without job. There will be something that will make you to maybe your job might say, oh yeah, we're not making money again. Okay, we are redundant. A lot of people, so we want you to go, and then there can be a gap, where you have to find another job to make that 6 figure. You don't consider all of the things because you're now making 6 figure. So you see, a lot of time people fail to realize that if, for instance, you and your wife is in the house, right, and she making like $2,000 and you're making $5,000, don't look at your income because you're making $5,000 and go and take a monkish house, for $3,000 or $4,000. Suppose something happened to you and your wife income cannot even make up that particular payment. Obviously, now your house become an issue, right? You can't afford a house again. They will have to take the house from you or so. So, I really learned a lot from his advice. He said always buy a house based on the lowest person income, so that just in case if you are making a higher money, because the purpose is for you to have money saved, because you can just take because somebody making 3 or 4 5,000 and go and just decide say, oh yeah, because I'm making 4 5,000 now, I can afford house. And a lot of time people made a mistake because why, all of flamboyant say, oh, I want to get a big house, or they want to show out, they want to do something. So what would be your take concerning that kind of good advice that that I were
Okay,
able to access,
okay. Now you understand why I said the first thing is your age. The second thing is we are being in the house for the next 10 years. Now you understand why I put the income. I put it last.
Yeah.
Okay, now you just said something that the person said that I said the same thing. Like you have to consider we are be here for the next 10 years. That means job, relocation, and for whatever reason, and we are there. That's why most of us that buy a house in this country, the first thing we consider, how much we making our job. Oh, they just give me raise. Oh, my man coming from abroad. I just got married. And so all those things, you know, and that's not the reason to buy a house. So the first thing you want to consider your age. The second thing is what? So is we are staying in the house for the next 10 years. The
Yep.
third thing, and is look, can I afford it? And the third thing become the first thing for a lot of us. You know, as soon as they get someone live, raised, or position, or got married, this and that, they're gonna buy a house. Or jealousy. Jealousy make a lot of people go in debt because
Oh yeah.
wow.
Yep.
I went to Rahim housewarming party. Rahim is a CNA. I got a PhD. If Rahim can buy a house, so I can buy now. I begin to put pressure on my partner now and say, oh, if Rahim can buy a house as a CNA, and then we can buy a house too, and we'll do all what you calculate your market based on somebody's pocket. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, what would you consider as? I follow you a lot, so I'll be asking you many questions from your show. You mentioned about something called wrap around mortgages.
Wrap
Can
around
you?
mortgage.
Yeah, yeah. Can you
Yeah.
talk about what does that mean, or how is that related to somebody who
They got
yeah. Go
they
ahead.
got they
I'll
got
ask
the
you.
philosophy. That tell me I'm coming back on the show. The man can that I mean that's how professional journalists do. They go and study about the individual, and then bring your own talking point to you, and you're right. And no, wrap
But
around mortgage.
you do have somebody committed classes, so I mean, we
Yeah,
follow a
yeah,
lot,
yeah.
so
I
we
do.
learn these things. So we
Yeah.
bring
Right.
that to the show so that people get to know, what you trying to say. Yeah,
And
go ahead,
I
brother.
mean, I was just about to talk about wraparound mortgage last night, but I was
Okay.
tired. Yeah, I was tired, so I did not. And thank God I ain't even try it. Yeah. So wraparound mortgage again can help a lot of Liberians and a lot of people who are on the water. So let's assume our brother saying is right now, and if you're out there, Sam and his wife is struggling with a mortgage. They cannot afford. The mortgage is $2,000 a month, and they've been behind for almost a year. They barely catch up. Sam can call me now. I can save him and put money in his pocket. So the way Sam gonna do now, I'm gonna tell Sam, look, you know what you do is this. Sam mortgage is $2,000 a month, and Sam owing Chase Bank $400,000. The house is worth 420. I'm going to tell Sam you're struggling with this mortgage. So what we're going to do is you already thinking about moving out. Am I right? Yes. Because a lot of time we look for people that are in pain to do this. If I say in pain, people who are struggling, they're moving out, marriage, the relocation for any other reason. So now I said, Sam, your mortgage is 400,000. Now, if they're about to take your house, you're struggling, you don't even want a house yet, but I can save you yet. So we'll go and put a house now to rent it or to sell it. So I'm going to sell the house to Rahim and say, Rahim, I'm selling the house for 480. You pay me $2,800 a month. So understand, Sam got this house. This house Sam paying for $2,000 every month to Chase Bank. Sam is already struggling with his house. We're gonna do so. We're gonna take the house now. It already got one mortgage on it. So we're gonna take the house and wrap it around another mortgage. So Sam gonna sell the house. He's gonna sell the house to Rahim for 480, $80,000 profit. And tell Rahim that look, Rahim, your mortgage should be every month. I want you to give me $2,800. 2,800. So when Rahim pays Sam 2,000, Sam will take the I mean, when Raheem pays Sam 2,800, Sam will take the 2,000 and give it to Chase Bank, and Sam put $800 in his pocket. Don't forget, time $2,800 times 80. Sam, you see, how much Sam making now on a house that Sam was just about to walk away from. You see, so that's it. So you say 800 times 12. Sam is making $960 a year times 30. Sam will be making $28,800. That horse that the bank was about to take from him, but it saved his credit, and now he's making money while he sleep. It's called wraparound. So now, as an investor now, that's how come we buy houses like that. So, and people say, "Oh, the person living in the house." I say, "Don't leave. I can come in." So now I take the house and say, "We'll maintain your credit. You will, you'll walk away from it. Will maintain your credit. Don't let the bank take it. But what I can do is, when I do my math already, I can give you 5 grand and you walk away." So don't forget the paper that Sam signed with the bank. We're not touching that paper. It's true that Sam gonna leave the house, but we're not touching that paper that he and Chase Bank when he did all his paperwork. We're not touching it. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the law firm and they're gonna do that paperwork for us. That Sam is turning this particular house now over to me. The reason we're not touching that paper from Chase Bank, because when we do that and they run it in the system, Chase Bank will know that, oh, but Sam not Philippine know why he sold it. So we're going to leave that paperwork that we're not going to touch it, but we're going to do other paperwork legally, binding by a law firm that Sam already passed her order me then. And we're going to set it to Rahim. It's called wraparound mortgage.
Okay. Thank you for that.
So,
Yeah, go ahead, Princeton.
so in the wraparound situation, let's say something were to happen to that property, to that house. Who claims the house? Chase Bank or
No, no,
Rahim?
you. No, because why? The insurance is in your name, in both of your name. And the reason the insurance is in both of your name, because just in case the house burned down, when the house burned down, what they will do, they will pay Chase Bank. And when they pay Chase Bank, because Rahim know that he owe you on the house, and you know that, so they will pay Chase Bank, and then whatever money, and whatever money come, it goes straight to Ryan. You don't have the money, you don't have anything in it. But
Right.
that would come down to all the paperwork that you end up, all everything that will be end up put into that paperwork with a law firm into, okay, how much you will get, this and that, everything. Yeah.
So the good thing about the wraparound mortgage is just to avoid foreclosure.
Thank you. To damage your credit, to above everything, because you know you already out. That's what I said. We do
Right.
this with people that go into pain. And
Right. Got it.
okay, lesson now. You a young man, you bought a house in Seattle, Washington, 4 years ago with a 2% interest rate for $500,000. Now you just got a job in Miami, a lucrative job. You don't want this house no more because you know the income is there. You can buy another house. Now you came across and I said, "Oh, don't bother, I can take it." But you can't go to the bank. So you and I would just do the paperwork and say, "You know what? If you want to leave it, I will give you 5 grand or 10 grand, walk away from it and give me the house." Then I go again because I know you got a fresh mortgage on it, and I do the wraparound and put another person in it and set it.
Okay. All right. That is very
Then I make
interesting.
money. I make money on something. That's why when you hear and you hear people say, I say that a lot of times, but people don't believe it. When you hear people say that you can buy a house in this country with no money, no credit, no job, no credential, it's true. It's true. That another way you can buy a house again with no nothing like that is creative finance and seller finance.
Yeah, that is so interesting. So let me I, while you were saying these things, I was trying to I access some of the things that I usually review to see some of the houses that are on the market right now. So for instance, like in Colombia, right, they have a house that is 450,000. So I went through everything regarding that house, and then it's amazing for people out there to know that the house that is worth 450,000, they have an estimated mortgage of 3,169, but I believe that you can easily, depending on what you put down, because it's saying that 20%. But one thing that shocked me though was at the buyer agent commission. They said 2.5%. Can you tell me what that means? A buyer, let's say agent commission.
Okay. So, and another thing I would tell everybody, and I would tell your audience, the agent is not your friend. The real estate agent is not your friend. The real estate agent, when you tell an agent, say, I want a big house, that means you want to pay a lot of money for it. It means you put a lot of money in the pocket. So that means that if you bought a house for $500,000, they will always go look for expensive property for you. And if you tell them say you are pre-approved, that's why they will pay attention to people who are pre-approved. Then you that say, you know what, I just want to find it first before I can go and become pre-approved. No, they will not pay attention. They will do, but a lot of times they spend more time and they give people who pre-approved. It means that the bank already gave you the paper. Say, oh yeah, you qualify for the $500,000. All agent will want to work with you because they know that check they're laying down now for them to sign it and get paid. Then you who say, look, let me find a house first before I go to the bank to run my credit, to do all that thing. No. And because if you pre-approve it, means that you went through all those things and the check is just in your hand. But now, if because the expensive the house is, that the more money the agent will make. The agent will never get paid just because you say, oh, I love the house, I agree on this one. The agent will not get paid. Then he or she will transfer you now to the bank, and to go do all the paperwork. As long as you sign that paperwork to the bank and they give you your key, the one that you can be telling people on Facebook, congratulations. I can't say congratulations to anybody. I say you not take on your left hand trouble. And, yeah. So now, so now that
That's
person will
it.
get paid as soon you sign that paper from the bank, they give you your key. That agent will get paid. The more money that house costs, the less you pay for the house, the less money the agent will make. It's just higher work.
But here is the thing also to that is what note taking, right? The house of 450,000, right? So assuming that the mortgage is 3,000, like what it's saying is 3,001 something, right? If you pay the 20% down, that's the mortgage estimated mortgage. But let's just assume that instead of 3,169, let's assume that it's 3,000 amount, no 450,000 house. I multiply that 3,000 amount by 30, it's like before 30 years, you will have paid double the money. It's 900,000.
Okay, but I said it before, that if you
Yeah,
Yeah.
buy a
I
person,
think
So,
and a lot of
it,
people do not
yeah.
calculate all
So,
those
so
things.
my,
So
my point is, because if they are giving you, like 2.5 interest, why would the house after 20 years, you will have paid double, this amount that you buy the house? It
that's
sounds
business.
very, yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, understand. That's business. That's why they will. That's why you find they don't teach financial literacy in school. They only teach you to go get a job. They don't teach you how to make business. And yeah, they teach you how to get a job. If you say, wait, you want to be successful, the only thing that's on your mind right now, go get a student loan, go get a degree, and get a job. There is nowhere in your vocabulary say, oh, I'm going to get a student loan, go to and go to school and become an employee. You always want to become an employer. I mean, you always want to become a what? Employee than employer. So everybody going to school to get a job. You want to go to school to get a job and make money, and that's why education now become a business. So what they're doing is business. You can't get mad at that. So that's why people like us now, we come in, we say, you know what, we want to show you, we want to tell you how you can do these things, and don't do it. It will come in our community is dark, man. It's very, very dark, and a lot of people going in debt. People don't know these things, but can we blame them? No. And like, I mean, people like us, we will fall for that too. But now that if you go or Sam go buy a house right now and just know all the thing, you can't blame God again. You gotta blame sense, because the information is there. No, and you not change your friends, how will you change your life? So you have to surround. If you got 5 people, if I ask Sam, four, give me 4 of your best friend, and Sam say all my 4 of my best friend are employee. Sam will still be an employee. But if 4 of his best friend are employer, Sam will become employer because they're the people he hang around. So I mean, the knowledge is out there, but how people are not seeking it. You know, in our community, there's nobody there who call mentor. The people who call mentor, they broke jelly up, and they start making the same wrong mistake. And, so it's just sad.
So okay,
So
hold on one second. Go
here's
ahead,
another
fix it.
question, right?
Yeah.
So another question I want to ask is the issue what Ricky just raised with the agent commission. Say the horse is to $400,000, and then the agent commission is 2.5. Let's say if you do your 20% down payment, so that 2.5% on that 400,000 horses, the 10,000, right? That is a single payment
Yeah.
that you pay when you put in your down payment, right? So that's additional money to the down payment. So you put that money down, you put your down payment, then you put the 10,000 down. The agent takes it and walk away.
No, if your house is $400,000,
Right.
and they say, oh, they're paying the agent, you you got nothing to do with it. That $400,000 check that the bank gave you. I
Mhm.
mean, that pre-approval letter that the bank gave you. If the agent fees, everything, you got nothing to do with the agent fee. Just go get your key, sign that paper, and walk away. The bank and the bank will take care of the agent. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah. So it got nothing to do with you. Like you say, oh, the agent fee is 12%. So I know after the 400,000, you got to come up with the agent fee. No, 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 no. Everything in that 400,000 now. Yeah.
So I've let's say to understand this, the bank the one that takes care of the agent, right? Instead of the down payment that you pay.
Right.
That is okay. All right. All right. I think that makes sense too. Yeah, that makes sense. For our viewer out there, if you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show, and I'm your host, Ricky Ali, being joined by my co-host, Lolo Smith and Francis Pilot. We have a very sound speaker today who is provide a lot of education when it comes to real estate investment. And also, if you are if you are planning to buy a home, it is very important that you watch this because our brother is providing a lot of information to help us, out there. So, okay, Lolo Smith, I thank you for coming back. I
I
believe you
miss a
have a
lot.
yeah, you missed a
I
lot,
miss a
but
whole lot, but
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any question for Mr. Gibman?
my question, one of my question, what is your strategies, like during this time market, buying houses is expensive. So like what is your strategies? What are you working with, What is your
Yeah.
strategies?
If you say buying houses, I want to know whether investment or residential or something we want to live in before. Yeah, because
You can I'll say both.
oh,
Both.
okay.
It
So
depends
so so
depending on the
yeah. So
the
if you
amount,
come
the
to me right
price.
now, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you come to me right now, you say, okay, look, I want to buy a house, man. I want to buy a $400,000 house right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I say, okay, do you know your down payment will be $80,000? You say, no problem, I got it. And I say, how much you make? You say, I make $150,000 a year. Um, how much your husband make? Your husband made the same amount. I would tell you that's $300,000 to you. That's a lot of money. I would tell you right there. I say, you know what? You came to me, you pay me for my honest advice. I
Mm-hmm.
would say, stay exactly where you are, and then use that $80,000 and invest that money. Between 2 to 3 years, somebody will be able to pay your mortgage. So don't buy a house. Then use
Mm-hmm.
your down payment to go in a distressed market like Detroit, like Ohio, and buy the
Mm-hmm.
$60,000 house and put the $20,000 in and fix it. That house become close to 150. You got a
Mm-hmm.
house now that worth $150,000. We put a renter in it. The renter paying you $1,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? Then I tell you right there, let's do the home equity line of credit. That means I will take in 85% the bank will give you on the house. How much did you give me? $80,000 to
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
flip for you. Now the bank gave you. I finished fixing your house worth 150,000. Now you got $150,000 cash sitting down. So we go and put a renter in it. The renter paying you $1,500 a month. It can be more, but let's be fair, just for the market. So now $1,500 a month, I can say stay right there. So now we do the home equity line of credit, not refinance. The home equity line of credit, and the bank will give you between 80 to 85%. They're giving you $120,000.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget now, you give me $80,000 to flip. They give you $120,000 cash.
But would
So
that be
now,
for a single family house or for like
yes, single family.
like
Yes,
that's a 3 bedroom, or would it be like a
yes,
6 bedroom? Okay.
yes, yes. I make the decision because understand now, I'm protecting your investment.
Right.
Huh? I'm
Right.
protecting your investment. I gotta give you all the advice because I get paid. If I don't give you money, I will not get paid. So my goal is to make money for you. So now the bank give you 120. If they give you 120,
Mm-hmm.
you still get a house. And the bank say your payment a month is $1,100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Who paid that bank? Like your tenants.
Mm-hmm.
So every
Mhm.
month your tenants give you 1,500. You take off 1,100, give it to the bank. You going
Mm-hmm.
home with how much? You going home with $400 every month. Don't forget, you still get your 120 sitting down in your bank account. And I'm coming to you again and tell you, say, you know what? Take, give me $80,000 again. Take your $40,000. Don't put it in the bank. You give me $80,000 again. I'm going to do the same thing. The $40,000 I left for you, we're going to take $20,000 and invest that $20,000 in the S&P 500. You guarantee a 7% interest rate on your money. You left with the 20. I tell you right there again to play with it. And then you put in another 20, another 10 in a high-end saving account. You're not touching it. The $10,000 for investment, for security, just in case your tenants don't pay 1 month, you get money to pick it up. But don't forget your house increased value every year by 25%.
Okay.
Wow.
And you see
Wow.
how now your investment now, somebody paying. So if you do this 5 times, you quit your job in the next maybe 2 to 3 years.
You still own the house. You still have the
You
house.
still you still own the house,
Yes.
but the tenants pay
Okay.
the bill. And
Okay.
so you see how instead of you giving the bank $80,000 just to look good, but you broke,
Mm-hmm.
why can't you just flip the money in 2 3 years and go buy your own house? Why somebody pay your mortgage?
Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
Very,
Okay.
very, gentlemen, very good education. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So you said
And I'm not speaking for that's something that I do. So my property is out there. We can touch it. We can feed it. So it's not somebody who just talking.
right. And then you said you've been in this for 4 years, right?
No, nine.
9 years. All right. So do you have a portfolio? You have like an overview of portfolio where people would know, and because you're in Detroit, let's say I'm in Maryland here, right? And I'm trying to get a house here. You have a portfolio to where if I call you and be like, I want a house, I want a single family house, you have that set up to where you would just, help me out, to you would
Yeah,
help me.
yeah. I got most of my client, almost 99% of my client, not in Detroit, not in Michigan,
Mm,
and yeah, and the reason why it's very expensive to look in a different market. Understand? A lot of people don't know that because one, if you call me tomorrow, say, okay, I want, I got this money sitting down. I
mm,
want to invest. I got it $80,000, for example. Why should I go to Cleveland, Ohio, and go buy a house there when I can buy a house in Detroit? That saves me money right there because why? My workers are living in Detroit. If I take all my workers to go to Cleveland, Ohio, I pay in hotel.
mm,
You understand? That's security. So now I gotta pay people to mind this house. Why? I got my furnace in, I got my hot water tank. I gotta pay people in. So it costs money to migrate to another market. Why I can
mm,
sit on Detroit, the market that I know that I can deal with an agent. But I can do that if I factor in all my calls. If I look in Detroit, I can't find a property that will give you money on your investment. Then I begin to look in different markets. But my goal is to make money for you.
Okay, okay. I mean, in the future, I want to get a house, but I'm still learning. Like you said, I'm glad you on the show so we can learn more because I miss a lot. So it just right now, I'm just getting to know a little bit. So I miss a lot, but I'm still gonna, keep in touch with you just so I can know more to, when I want to get a house.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't
yeah.
buy a house
So,
right now. Don't buy a
Yeah,
house
because
right now in this
right,
market. This market right now, if you want to buy that, a lot of things you have to consider, man, because it is it the interest rate right now. To be honest with you, is not going below. It's not going below 4% anytime soon. Maybe
right.
we might not even see it. So right now, I would tell anybody right now before you buy, I would say invest your money. Let somebody else pay your mortgage while you sleep.
Okay,
Invest your money. Never right now. Stay where you do not buy a house based on emotion or jealousy because 99% of people buy a house based on these things and they stress out. And you don't want to buy a house that you can spend good 3 days or 3 hours on your own bed. And no, that's not good investment.
okay. So I can buy a house, right? Let's say I'm in Maryland and I want to get a house in Detroit. I can get a house there and and have a house there and still live here. I can do that
Well, yeah, you can rent a house, you can buy a house, fix it,
and rent it.
and, and rent it. Let somebody else pay your mortgage while you sleep
Oh,
in Maryland.
okay. Okay.
yeah, that's the question I was going to ask because I was having this conversation with someone before, and then there was like, okay, so if you're in the Minneapolis area, Minneapolis, North Dakota, you're in the Midwest, you're in a different market.
Mhm.
And then if you came to, because I was thinking about actually buying a house in Virginia,
Mhm.
right, in Richmond.
Mhm.
So they were like, you have to study the market in the DMV, um, because your market in you may not be something like I may not be able to get a house in that market. I have to live there, and this was purposely for living there actually. So it was like if you want to buy the property in Virginia to live there, you may have to have been living in DMV for quite some time before you can buy the house. How true is that? Like if I
That's
live
not
here, I
true.
want to buy a house in Phoenix, Arizona, anywhere, I can just go there, buy, move.
Yes, that's not true. I mean, if that's true, then Donald Trump will not get houses all over the country. I mean,
I know, right? He's
I
so
get
think
all
That
rich.
makes a
across.
lot of sense.
I
And
think it's just an advisable, but I don't think it's something that is a law that you can buy the house anywhere. But it's just something I recommend. That it's really good to assess wherever you want to buy the house to know what are the places, especially when you have kids. What are the places really good? It's a good community or so. It's
Right.
just
Right.
advisable, but I don't think you can buy a house anywhere if you once you can afford it. Go ahead,
Okay.
Emma.
yeah. You said, oh, and one thing. Let me say this.
Mhm.
Be careful who you have a conversation with when you're trying to invest.
Mhm.
More especially our community. Understand something is very important. Let's assume Sam right now, he's not a risk taker. He's
Mhm.
scared. He don't know me. And Ryan, you brought this guy on the show. You met him before? No. But you follow him on Facebook? Yes. I got a $80,000 that my grandma left. I trust the guy. But anyway, I somewhere lukewarm. So now Sam is 50%. He
Mhm.
want to hello, let me help him. He don't. Sam go at his job and meet four of his hourly worker who also not get no clue, no knowledge. They comfortable working. Sam
Mhm.
sat down with them and said, I saw the guy on Facebook. I want to go, I want to invest, I want to do real estate. What do you think the four guys would tell him? I mean, that got a scam, you don't know it, it will not work. You better take your money, go like bro, and go do. So you see how the people you surround yourself with are very important
Yeah.
because I always say, why would you discuss $1 million ideas with
Mhm.
somebody who can keep $300 in their account for 3 weeks?
For somebody who live here around around
They will
2000.
pay. If four of your best friends are hourly worker, do you think you will be an employer?
No.
No. So it's just the people you surround yourself with.
Mhm.
Look, before I go to this point, I have to distance myself from my own people, and that include people with my last name, because it was difficult. That everybody was telling me it would not work. This will not work. Everything. Our community are so unique. You
Mhm.
ever wonder when you want to when your friends say they're having a wedding and you in a wedding and they put you in a wedding and they say you should pay 1,500 or 2,500. We don't ask question or we don't see vision that say, oh no, I'm not going to pay the 2,000 because the wedding will not last. We don't ask this question. But as long as I tell you right now, I come to you, I say, you know what, give me $2,000, let me flip it from you for Airbnb. The next thing you come in, go sit down on there and say, you know what, I just saw a vision that the Lord spoke to me. But the Lord never speak to you that that wedding will not last. So it always something negative when it comes to investing in yourself. So you have to be mindful who you share your dream with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
That's
was reading
true.
I, I,
something.
I
I
like
was
that
reading.
illustration.
Yeah, I was reading something online that told me said the first thing in buying a house is to get a credit score.
Let me
And
adjust my phone for it.
you did mention that when you were talking. So I know credit score play a important role too. So what average credit score is more likely to get you pre-approved.
let me let me say this that a lot of people don't know, and you will not even find it online.
Okay.
This country is so unique. Um, and just for the record, I'm not I'm not getting paid by doing this. Just to protect myself. I'm doing this um for education purposes,
Yeah.
and I'm not a real estate investor for any of you guys. So I'm doing to help my community, just to put it out there.
Yeah.
So now, as long you get money, the bank or every agency in this country, Ale, they don't see your credit score. Let me repeat. As long you get asset, that means that you got property, you got something to show that cash coming in, cash flow. The bank or any institution in this country will Ale, they don't see your credit score or you got 800 credit score, but they will just take it just for the record to put on the books. That's why you see they will give you a student loan with a 500 credit score for 150,000. They will give you a student loan. Think about that for a minute. They will give you a mortgage with a credit score of 780. I mean 580, 590. They'll give you a mortgage for $300,000. They will give you a mortgage. They will give you a car loan with a credit score of 570, but they will never give you a business loan with a 700 credit score. Think
That's
about
Right,
that
true.
for a minute.
That's true.
right.
That's true.
Because right now, why some of us in debt? We find pleasure going in debt because we know the secret.
Yeah.
If I got a $900,000 debt, do I pay that debt? No, I don't. They're my tenants. Why they don't let it don't so you want to tell me they don't see my credit score? That all this debt on it because they know there's some money coming in, it's a cash flow. So they're comfortable with that. So that's how it works. So the credit score is just there for poor people. And that if you can manage your credit score, that's why I
It's just for
tell
poor
I
people.
I told my friend, I said, if I was single, I'm going on a date. The first thing I want to know, I won't know your name. I won't know
Ah,
your credit score. If
you
your
just want to
credit
know the
score
credit
is
score.
yeah, if your credit score is below 750, that become a problem. Because if you
Mm,
can't manage your credit score, how can you manage my money? And somebody will say, I ain't in it for the money a lot. 50% of the marriage or the relationship that break up is because of finances.
Yeah.
That's the hard discussion that a lot of people do not want to discuss, but we can go into that different time.
Yeah, I mean, we Otavio's and also to my co-host. I think if we stay here for a while, I mean, to be honest, I'm enjoying everything that you are providing. I guess our viewer out there are also being educated on these things, and if we can spend as long, explaining these things to our viewer out there, and also getting a lot of relevant information. But we want to save the date and save other information for another time on the show. So we want to wrap up our show. I think we had a very awesome time with you. Our private. I mean, to be honest, I'm coming to you for a lot of information because I mean, a lot of things here. To be honest, this particular show, I learned a lot from you. So
Hmm.
many things to really
Yeah,
take away from this particular show,
honestly.
and I think we had an awesome time with you. So, last thing, what would be your advice, as a real estate, because you have a lot of experience. You have now you've been in the industry for 9 years, and you try a little amount of money to to run a good services to people. So, I would like for you to share your number so that people out there can know how to get in touch with you. I know you
Okay.
always have your community class. How can people follow your community class? Some of the video you have on Facebook, a lot of education. Sometimes you just provide that free of charge. People come and can come and watch. And follow you a lot. So share your information and what is your advice to somebody who right now might be contemplating on, well, me and my husband has prepared to buy a house, but
I
we are kind of
am.
yeah, we kind of little on setting, so what is your advice? But share your number first, and then how can people get in touch with you also before you can share your
Share
advice?
that.
Yeah, thank you. My phone number is 810 333 3955. 810 333 3955. My other number is 810 986 7089. 810 986 7089. And I will advise that, look, if you want to buy a house, man, you gotta seek some kind of advice, man. Just don't do it. And get some kind of advice out there. Don't buy a house based on emotion. Don't buy a house because you're jealous or you saw somebody just bought a house and you want to go jump into it. Don't do that. And if you reach out to me, there are a lot of money I can save for you. I can put a lot of money in your pocket. I can save a lot of money if you reach out to me and I understand your problem. Run the numbers. I can save thousand of dollars if you want to buy a house. I can save a lot of money. But I mean, you just got to ask. So don't buy a house. Talk to somebody. And you can save a lot of money from me. I can do that. And also, I mean, I invest people money from 500 all the way, and then you
Okay, I was
get
just about to ask
yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I help people invest from 500 from $5,000. I know,
Mm.
like I help you invest into Airbnb, another $1 billion industry that our people not into, and for
Mm-hmm.
$5,000. A lot of people gonna be fighting taxes. They got $5,000 keeping that going to LIB, they're going twice. These are money that can change your entire life. So I help
So
you. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Otávio, I think it is important to, I don't know whether there was a house that you posted on Facebook that you were selling in Detroit, right? Do you
Yeah.
still have that house on the market? And I think it's a perfect opportunity to sell. And maybe this is a live broadcast, so it's a perfect opportunity if that house is still available, so that people can follow you and see the house. You said it was a 4 bedroom that has a basement, everything. Can you talk about it a little bit, please?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I always say this to our community. Don't talk about something that you don't know. Don't talk. Like I said, I don't have a degree. I don't. I don't even speak English good. But I can. The only thing I can
Me,
boast
You do.
about.
me too,
I
bro.
can. The only thing I can boast about is what I'm doing right now with my hand and my brain. I said talk. Never went to school for this. I learned by myself. Make hard decision. That house right now, I changed my mind on it. I put it out. The house and I took it off because when I run the numbers, I was making $2,500 a month on the house. But when I run the numbers, I put another room in the basement. It increased the value of the house, so I better know if I sell the house because I only want less though. So if I
Mm-hmm.
sell this house, I'll be putting almost 300 and some more thousand dollars in my pocket. But what am I going to do with it? I don't need it, but I can keep it for my kids. So And the number don't it never made sense to me, and that's why I changed my mind. But if somebody want it and the number
So
makes sense, I might
That
do
can be,
ain't
it
sure,
can be the
ain't sure you
investment
renting a
for
house
somebody.
instead of selling it now, right? Ain't sure
that.
you
Huh?
renting it. I mean, ain't sure you
Yeah.
are renting a house instead of selling it. Okay. All right.
I
I
Okay.
think
got yeah, I got tenants in it right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I want us to have a part two to this real estate discussion.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
Yeah. We
Let's do
have to
There
have
alpha
are
it's
this
a
part.
time, guys.
lot.
there are a lot of unanswered questions, and we don't want to
Yeah.
hold you down. Way too many questions. Like
Mm-hmm.
the more we
Being that
keep
I'm a
talking, the
first
more
time
we're having
buyer
a
too.
lot of information that we need to put out there for people who may be interested, and even for ourselves
Right.
who are interested in investing. Because when you mention about you can start investing in Airbnb and making money with 5,000, then I
Oh
can
yeah.
invest in a lot of Airbnb. So
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
so so there will be people out there who are also interested in say, okay, I live here, let me just live in Fargo. But if I can get Airbnb in places like Miami and Chicago, like these hot spots where people are always visiting, and then I have small money sitting there somewhere. How about I go that route where I'm getting a more frequent returns on my investment, where the
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
cash is coming very frequently as to going to buy the property, fix it, and all of those. But then, yeah, maybe if we have the opportunity to have you again, um, those are some of the things that I want for us to address. But I don't want
Yeah.
to
Yeah, that would be
dive into the
fun.
Airbnb
I think,
investment
yeah. I
and it
think that makes sense.
take all of your night. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We can also have a part two to this. I think our brother is very quick. He has a lot of information and we have learned a lot, but because of the time, we go on 1 hour and 41 minute. It was
Yes.
not we need to
Wow, you
plan.
the
But I mean we had
longest.
an awesome time on
The
the show
longest.
and I think my brother's always willing to be back on the show. So we want to wrap our show. He's already make give the advice
Mm-hmm.
to people out there who wanting to buy the house, and he made it a very good investment option, which Francis have just talked about. A little not 5,000. You can invest that, and you won't believe over time. The kind of return you will get.
And let me say
So
this,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Ryan, quickly. And look, you don't have to, and that's something we don't see in our community. Um, let's assume all three of you right now,
Yeah.
your entire life can change from 80,000 dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to get that 80,000 you alone.
Yeah.
Just find other people you can go to your mind. That's what we call private investor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got private investor and they got hard money lender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you can say all three of us can come together and come up with the 80 grand. All four of us can come together and come up with the 80 grand. Five of us. eh, Well, Liberians do not do that joint business. And right now I just had a program that I was doing a crowdfunding.
Okay. Crowdfunding.
I
Yeah, I
was looking
saw
for two
that.
hundred
I
thousand.
saw that.
Yeah, I was looking
Yeah, I
for two
saw
hundred
that on
thousand
your
dollars.
show. Saying yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't get it from Liberian. So what I did, I went outside and I
Mm-hmm.
got on the three crowdfunding. And how much they make? The people make good money on it just to buy a house, fix it, and flip it. Each one of them went home with almost close to 30 grand.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
so there are a
Yeah,
lot of incentive.
it's a good thing to do, and that's why we want to have a part two
A
of this
part two.
show because you got a lot of information and a lot of things to help out our folks out there who are
Anytime for that.
following the show. So once again, it's a pleasure having you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we had a very good time, and we always want to see you back on the show. So
Yes.
thank you for
Thank you so much,
leaving
my
your
brother.
business schedule and come here and provide this information. And we hope to see you again. So to
Yes,
our
we are.
folks out there, thank you for tuning in. It was an awesome time for you following the show on Facebook and YouTube. We want to wrap up our show. So good night to our guest
Good night,
speaker. I hope to
guys,
see you again.
Good
gentlemen.
night.
Yeah, and
Good night.
good
Yes,
night
sir.
to
We
I
see you
all
appreciate
again,
it.
my
Nice.
Otavia.
co-hosts.
You too. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Good night to
All
all of
right,
you
friends.
guys. Yeah.
All
Rahim.
right. Good night, guys.
Good night. Yeah. Well, folks, that was it of our show.